Salute is a program for and about men and women who have served our country. Our program includes news about the laws that affect veterans, information on benefits and services, and news from veterans organizations. And now, our host, Bob Peters.
Hello and welcome to Salute. I'd like to welcome back to my show, Ken Adcock, who's with Habitat for Humanity. And you brought along a guest this time.
Sure did.
Larry Lutie, who's with the Leesburg Rotary. Welcome, gentlemen. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Kent, why don't you give us a little bit of update since we saw you, it was last year, you were in a golf tournament and to our house, and give us a little background on what happened since then.
Sure. You know, last year, almost a year ago to the day almost, we were together and we were putting forward the idea of a veterans housing initiative that Habitat was unveiling, and we were building a house for a disabled Vietnam veteran in Wildwood. I'm happy to report we broke ground on that house November the 10th, the day before Veterans Day. He moved in February 15th, and so Curtis Walters is now has his own home and his first home since he came back from Vietnam. And now we're doing it again. We've got another disabled vet we're building a home for in Mineola. We're going to start it a little earlier. We're going to start it in October, just next month.
That's great. You know, that's wonderful what you guys do. Now, this gentleman is with the Leesburg Rotary, and you've teamed up, have you not?
Right, for the USO show, and to raise money for hospice and the SOS and Habitat for Humanity. Mm-hmm. So we share our profits of that fundraising event with those folks. And I'm the leader of the LC Swing, which will be the 17-piece big band.
Oh, you're the leader of the band?
Yes, that's correct.
That's why you look familiar. I've seen you before, yeah.
And so we'll be there with a show and a wonderful dinner. This is on November 2nd, and it'll be at the Armory here in Leesburg. And so we'll start out with a dinner at 6 o'clock, and then at 7 we'll have our recognition to the veterans and our big USO type show. And then at 8 o'clock we'll have a big band dance until 10. And there'll be a silent auction and just lots of fun things to do. So we hope that the community will come out and attend.
Yeah, how did you get started with the Rotary?
I was brought into
Tell us a little bit more about the Rotary and some of the other things you guys do.
Well, I tell you, I've been a member for about 8 years. A gentleman who used to lead the LC Swing brought me into Rotary. Unfortunately, he passed away, and so this idea is not original. It came from attending such an event in the Midwest, and it was so successful there that we decided to go ahead and try it here. And so this is our biggest fundraiser of the year. We have a reverse auction, which is another fundraiser we have in the spring of the year, and then of course we man the beer booth at the Bike Fest, and so those are our three main fundraising events of the year. Mm-hmm. So, but the Rotary's a good bunch, and we have a good time. We meet every noon for lunch, and have interesting meetings and programs.
Now, if somebody wanted to join, is there some kind of a
if
requirement
well, not really. Most of the
most is business people, right?
Yes, and also there's a number of retired people there too. So it's a pretty wide variety, men and women. And so if we meet at the Venetian Gardens at noon, and so if anybody wants to join, they could come to our meeting, or they could be escorted to the meeting by another member. And either way would be fine.
But you mean when? Not every day. You mean,
No, just on Wednesdays.
Every Wednesday.
Wednesday at noon. Yes, thank you. Wednesday
Okay.
at noon.
Okay. So how's this big project? You were supposed to be doing this big.
Well, I'll
Where
give you a
are
little
we?
bit. But before I say that, the reason I'm now a member of the Noon Rotary as a result of the Noon Rotary's involvement with veterans. And so I really applaud what the Rotary's been doing, and so I joined last year and have not regretted it. So it's a great organization.
Oh, I know that for a fact. You got some of my good friends are in there, according to my good friend George.
Well, just to give you a little bit of heads up, in addition to what we're talking about building at least one house a year for a veteran, we're also looking at a transitional housing facility.
That's the one I wanted to get to. You mentioned that
so
before.
I'll give you a little bit of an update on what's happened since we met together last year. We journeyed to Washington, D.C. and met with the Department of Veterans Affairs and said, listen, this is what we envision. There's nothing like it in Lake or Sumter counties. And we know that there's a need because there's a proven number of veterans that have that need. And they said, you need to go and meet with a group out of Massachusetts called Soldier On. I don't know if you've heard of them.
No.
And they have the best, the premier transitional facility in the nation. And so John Cherry from Lifestream and my board chair and myself flew to Connecticut, and we took a 2-day tour turnaround quickly. And we visited the facility there. And we're just blown away with what's there.
Where was this in Connecticut?
It was in Pittsfield, Massachusetts.
Oh, Pittsfield, Mass.
We flew into Hartford, Connecticut, and then drove into Pittsfield, Massachusetts. And Soldier On has really perfected this transitional in a new type of model. When we got there, we were kind of blown away because it was so much larger than our vision was down here. And so now we're in the process of saying, okay, if that's what we're about, we're going to have to rethink how this thing is going to work. Because we were thinking in the neighborhood of $650,000 investment, whereas now we're trying to say it could be a $3.5 million investment.
Wow.
So in the process of doing that, there's still a lot of research and due diligence and soul searching to say, okay, is this type of investment, is it worthy here given the number of veterans that we have? And then if so, how are we going to pull it off? Because the idea from Habitat's perspective is that with partners like the Noon Rotary and others, we've been able to raise funds to be able to put money aside for a planning grant to be able to pull this together. But that $3.5 million is a lot of private money and a lot of private capital to raise, because I don't know if you know, but the Department of Veterans Affairs, they have per diem money, which is money that goes to the vet per day that they're served. So it handles services, but they have no money available for capital expenditures such as creation of this facility. So that money will have to come through private sector donations or through a variety of different lending possibilities. So that's where we are right now, is we're in the process. Lifestream is evaluating it, our board is evaluating it, and we're going to see, until that time comes, until it's really revealed if we're going to be able to pull the big one off, we're still going to say we're going to be building for veterans from now on. You know, that's our plan.
Mm-hmm. And this house you're doing now, you plan on doing, is for who?
It's for a young lady. I haven't got permission to use her name yet, but she was a military police officer, and she's honorably discharged and disabled, and she's going to be having a house in Mineola. And so we're getting ready to break down. Actually, Habitat's going to break ground on 5 or 6 houses in South Lake. That's going to be our next focus point.
Now you have, we're going to get back to you. I'm not running away from the Rotary here, but I want to get back to this because you were on the show once before and we talked about this. The people who are getting these homes are not getting it free.
No.
And they must participate in some way?
Yes. They have to, first of all, they have to qualify, meaning they have to demonstrate a housing need. If their housing situation is fine the way it is, then they can't demonstrate a housing need. If they demonstrate a need for housing and they're below 80% of area median income, then and they're willing to partner, meaning they're willing to, as a single person, commit 220 hours in helping build their house or someone else's house, or in the case of a couple, 330 hours, then those 3 criteria is what determines whether or not they're capable. They have to be able to have good credit, decent credit, and they have to pay a note, a mortgage, because like you say, we don't give the house away. We take as much donated labor as we can receive, as much donated material as we can receive, and then we build that house and we sell it to that individual at cost or the appraised value, whichever's cheaper. and then we sell it to them at 0% interest. So we are the bank at that point. And so it's not a giveaway. We call it a hand up, not a handout.
Right. And a lot of your labor is volunteer, right?
That's exactly right.
I've seen some of the articles in the newspaper. I think that's great. You got such a crew of people that will step up.
And we're getting ready to open up a volunteer village in Eustis that will house 100 people. And Congressman Daniel Webster is going to help us open it on October the 7th. We haven't even opened it yet, and already we've got several groups that are from, for example, Tulane University sending 100 students in December, volunteers. They're going to be here for a week solid to help us build. So we're seeing a lot of interest in terms of volunteers all over the country.
So you're going to have this facility where people can come and you house them there so they can go out and they build these houses.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great.
Not only they're going to build houses, we're calling it community engagement. They're going to engage communities. For example, we did this in April with 100 AmeriCorps students, and they painted fire hydrants in the city of Eustis for the fire department, so they didn't have to use their manpower or their materials. We also were able to help put up a community park in Eustis. And so we're saying as a nonprofit, how can we give back to the community? Most of the time a nonprofit goes to the community and says, what can you give us? What can you give us? We're saying we're in a position now where with volunteers coming from all over the country, staying in our facility, that we can say, okay, what can we give to you? And government is not the answer to everyone's problem. We recognize that if communities start to take responsibility for their own social challenges, then we can save communities a lot of money and in the process engage a lot of people. And so that's what we hope to do.
You're not a bad guy, Kent.
Well, we're going to, if you strike enough matches, sooner or later something's going to catch fire.
Yeah. Hey, you have a website, right?
Yep, we sure do.
And people want to know more about Habitat.
Absolutely. It's www.habitatls, that's Lake Sumter, habitatls.org.
Okay. And if anybody wanted to call you, we can throw a number out there too,
Absolutely. Right? But, we couldn't do what we do if it weren't for organizations like the Rotary, because we collaborate with so many vital organizations, and the Leesburg Rotary and the Villages Rotary has been a great partner of Habitat's over the years as well.
Yes, and they've also been great partners with SOS and, my man George there with the Marine, you know who I'm talking about.
Right.
He's with the Salutes program, which goes to Cornerstone Hospice. And he's been on the show. George is a very good friend of mine.
I think all this that Kent has been talking about is one reason that the Rotary Club supports this type of activity. And so we hope people come out and help support our fundraising efforts to help these different organizations. If people want tickets, they should call and we can reserve tickets for them.
Okay, this is where you got to give a number out.
I will. It's area code 352-728-8414. 352-728-8414.
Okay.
And we'll take care of it. The cost of the evening is $35, and we'll have a wonderful show where the Dance Dynamics, which is here in town, does a terrific job, and they're national champions. I mean, throughout the country, they're the best, and we'll have them on the show.
I don't mean to cut you off.
You were there last year.
Yeah, I don't mean to cut you off, but I was there. I've been there. Well, I won't be there this year, unfortunately, because I'm going on an honor flight the same day you're doing that. In fact, George is supposed to go with me. I don't know if that's going to happen. But, I was there for the one you had over at the airport.
Yeah.
And that was good. But the one you had last year just blew my socks off.
Yeah.
And he donated his winning. You won.
Yeah, I won.
Yes.
And he donated his winnings back.
I
Thank
think
you
it was
very
like
much.
$350 or something.
Yeah, thank you.
They called me up, I went up there, and I turned around and I handed it right back. And my wife looked at me and said, I knew you were going to do that.
Well, if the community knows about these kinds of things, I mean, it's right here. And our thanks to the Armory and Sergeant Cerrone over there and
he's
his
a good
men
man.
for helping us out,
Yeah.
and all the cooperation that the city has given us. We're just blessed to have so many people involved, and we want the people to come out and fill that place. We only have room for 400, so get your calls in and get the tickets purchased.
I was there last year, my wife and I and another couple. I bought a couple tickets for them too.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, like I said, I won't make it. You should have contacted me and changed the date.
Yes, right. Another person on the show is going to be Dave Boyer. You may not know, but Dave started on the East Coast, and he performed with such names as Frank Sinatra, Jerry Lewis, Dean Martin, and the list goes on and on. He traveled throughout the country singing basically sacred, inspirational music. He's made a number of CDs that are on the market, but he also has a secular side, as Frank Sinatra, that type of thing. And he teams up with LC Swing, and they'll do a whale of a show for you also as a part of the total package.
Yeah, you had a lady there last year too.
We had a lady there last year, and that lady is still with us. She had her own van, traveled throughout the country for about 10 years, and settled in Leesburg with her husband. She's now the Ministry of Music person at the Lake Square Presbyterian Church, and also is our regular vocalist. And she does.
She's terrific.
Yes, she is very talented. And let me put a plug in. Our Lake Square Presbyterian Church has spent about $300,000 remodeling the entire facility. And it is really amazing, and we're having our commemoration ceremony, our dedication ceremony on the 22nd. That's a week from this Sunday at 10 o'clock in the morning. And then we hope to fill the church with that, and then in the evening at 6 o'clock, Allie will have her 60-voice choir there, and they'll do a performance that evening.
Yeah. Well, hopefully this show will air in time for that.
Yeah, well, I hope so.
See, the problem we have is we tape a lot of these shows, so we try to get an event a month ahead of time.
Oh,
so that we can
understandable.
get it out, But if it does air,
Yeah.
great. If
Well,
it
that's
doesn't, I know it's going to be great.
and that's all the more reason, since it's going to air closer to the time of the show.
Yes.
That they write that number down, because I brought 4 people with me last year, and this year I'm bringing 8. So they need to call Larry and get their tickets, because it's going to be a great experience.
Right.
Well, this is the event at the church you're talking about.
No,
We're talking about the USO
the
show.
USO
The
show.
church event will be great
Yeah.
too, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But especially
But
the USO show.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I was there for. I think that was the first one, right at the airport.
At the airport, yes.
Yeah, I was there for that,
Yeah.
and I was there last year. So this is your third one, right?
This is our third one, and
I really wish I could be there.
this last one, we grossed quite a lot more money than we did on the first one, and we hope that, I think that the possibilities are really great to give more support to these veterans organizations with that particular fundraising project. So we hope people come out and enjoy it. It'll be well worth it.
Well, I'll tell you, if people want to listen to me, I'm telling you, if you can get a chance to go, because I really wish I could be there. Your band is terrific. That young lady who's doing the singing is terrific. You had a trumpet player that used to do a little Louis Armstrong thing too, right?
Yes, we did. Billy Barnes unfortunately came down with bone cancer.
Oh, I'm sorry
And
to hear
so
that. He was good.
He played for Disney for 25 years. And then he was with us for a number of years. And unfortunately, it has taken its toll. And he still plays a little Dixieland, but doesn't have the strength to play.
Well, get
the
well,
big
fella.
bands. Yes, for sure.
But I want to talk a little bit. What really blew me away last year was that dance group. I've been around a little bit, and I've been to some shows in Vegas and this and that, and that was amazing that they did this in the Armory, and the way these young girls were dancing around, and
And
they're worth the price of admission alone.
They're amazing. They actually will do 2 different performances in this show. One is with a smaller group, as last year, and the other is with the big group doing their competition number that they won the national championship with. And so I'm looking forward to it. It's
I was
a lot
looking
of
forward to it.
a lot of talent there,
Yeah.
for sure. It's amazing.
Well, you guys, I say guys and gals at the Rotary, I know you do, it's a fantastic job you guys do. The other 2 organizations we want to talk a little bit about, one's Project SOS, That's Gary Cato.
Yes.
And he does a lot of getting wheelchairs for veterans who can't get around anymore.
Gary and his group are doing a terrific job, and they initially started out by going to the hospitals and recycling materials, medical materials that they generally throw away, and sending them to Iraq or Afghanistan. And since the need has decreased there for that kind of thing, they're serving the homeless in the Ocala National Forest
He's
and
working a
various
lot
other
with
things.
Pastor Chris Ward.
Oh, it's amazing the
I
things
put the
they're
two of
doing.
them together, you know.
Well, you did a good thing.
Yeah, because
That's very
they're
good.
both great guys, and
Yes.
they got hearts of gold.
Yes.
But when I first met Gary, I'm going to tell you a story. I saw a little article in the newspaper had to be a 2-by-2-inch looking for wheelchairs. So my mother had just passed away, and she was a little tiny lady. So I said, well, I got this chair, and I asked my sister, what do you think? She said, donate it. So I went down, and that's where I met Gary. And he started telling me about how he sends this stuff. And the wheelchair, he was sending wheelchairs over there in the very beginning for the kids, because our troops over there built a wheelchair out of bicycle parts and plywood for one of the crawling ones. That's what they called them over there. And that kid became a celebrity.
Wow.
So Gary says, hey, I got to get some more wheelchairs. So I gave him that chair, and I said, why don't you come on the show? He did. And about a week or so after the show, he had over 200 chairs.
That's fabulous.
It was great when a plan comes together, you know?
Absolutely.
Well, you did a good thing. There are a lot of those types of situations where a member of the family passes, and by donating it to organizations as SOS, it's a good thing, and that's necessary.
Yeah, and like I said, that other one you're working with is hospice. With my friend George.
Yes.
George has been on the show, and he told me how this one veteran, he came into Pinham, hadn't moved in months. And all of a sudden, when George saluted him, all of a sudden the guy's hand went like that, and he saluted George back.
It's amazing.
Oh, he's got a heart of gold.
Oh,
you know.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
I think all three of these organizations that this project will benefit are well worthy of what we're going to give them. And the more we can give them, the better off we'll like it. So
Yeah, and I hope you get some more members.
I do too.
You know,
I do too.
'cause
You know, it
you-
kind of goes up and down.
Well, Larry or either one will be glad to sponsor anyone that wants to join.
Absolutely.
So tell them, call that number too.
Yes.
That Larry gave out, and if they want to become a member, we'll hook them up, right?
Absolutely.
Good.
And you know, this kind of trend is a national trend, the reduction in the numbers in the club, but it's still 40 or 50 members in the club, so we still have a good number. But we invite people to call, and we'll give them a free dinner, or a free lunch even, and the food is good. So
Yeah, it is good. I was there once. But yeah, so this is November.
this is November the 2nd.
All right, we want to make sure we get it all out there again, because we got about
Yes.
5 minutes left. So
All
if
right.
anybody else you want to thank or whatever,
Yes, there is. We have a website also. It's lcswing.com, www.lcswing.com. Has our entire schedule on there, so if you're interested in hearing the band, you can go on there and find out where we're playing. I'm not sure if this is going to air in time or not, but October 5th, we'll be opening up the concert series for the Lake Sumter State College. And we'll play an hour concert there dedicated to Duke Ellington. And it should be a very interesting. We have lots of talent in the band, and we have a great time. So I think it should be a good show. But we look forward to sharing with you.
it's funny you mentioned Duke Ellington. I had a chance. No, Lionel Hampton. I almost saw Lionel Hampton.
Oh yeah.
He came over to my base when I was overseas, but I had to work and I couldn't get there. But yeah.
People have interesting backgrounds. One of my trombone player came up. He said, he said Duke Ellington used to rehearse his band at the summer camp up there on the East Coast, and we lived up there in Pennsylvania in that area. And my mother played piano during the rehearsals, so Duke Ellington could rehearse the band without having to think about playing at the same time. So there's, these are great memories and some great sounds.
I'm going to tell you a little secret. We did a thing called the Guardians of Freedom down by the villages one year, and they had a group on there It's called Homeland, and they're all veterans, and they do gospel and they do country. I got on stage and sang with them, along with a young lady who was a backup singer for Elvis Presley.
Oh,
So hey,
Hey, you're
it's
there.
good enough for Elvis. It was good enough for me.
That's right.
I had fun.
That's wonderful.
But yeah, this show. I can't praise it enough because, like I said, I saw it last year, and the food was great, the band is great, your singers are great, and those kids will just blow you away. So if anybody out there is thinking about going, I recommend highly you go. It's probably one of the best shows you're going to see in all of Lake County, and it's for a great cause. And I thank you for what you do for our veterans. You are an Army veteran yourself. And
There's one other thing I'd like to mention. If anybody would like to donate anything for the silent auction, just give that number, area code 352-728-8414. Give me a call, and we'll make the arrangements with you. So,
okay,
okay,
so we pretty much covered it.
I think so.
And we're about out of time. Oh, one other thing, right? You got a golf thing. You guys, we didn't mention that?
oh no, we got a golf tournament for veterans. That's going to be November the 18th at Mission Inn. It's going to be on the El Campeon course. $400 for foursome or $125 per person. You played in it last year and came out one of the winners.
Yes, I did. I came out third place when we beat General Sullivan and Baker.
Yeah, Kerry Baker.
Sergeant Kerry Baker. I have a picture of home with the general on one side and the senior master sergeant on the other side, and a little old E4 holding the trophy. They're great guys, they really are. So, well, we're out of time, but once again, it's November 4th.
November 2nd.
November 2nd. Hey, boo. Don't screw it up, Bob. November 2nd. It's going to be over at the Armory. And for tickets, one more time.
Call area code 352-728-8414.
And make a plan to attend this, because I'll tell you, it's a great show, and it benefits Habitat for Humanity, SOS, and Cornerstone Hospice. And they're all fantastic organizations, and I salute every one of you guys for what you do.
Thank you.
And with that, I got to do this. To all our veterans out there, our active military and their families, we salute you for all you do. Till next time. This is our 4th year at Lakefront TV. We're still looking for guests, and we'd love to have you on. We're proud of what we've done in the past. So give us a call at 352-728-9707 and check us out on the internet at lakefronttv.com. Spread the word and enjoy the show.